everyone, this is the High Desert Tarotist, and today we're going to be doing a fun Your Future Self reading. We're going to look at what messages does your future self 1 year from now have for you. If you're new to these readings, what you want to do is that we have 4 piles here. You're going to pick which pile you feel drawn to, and then there'll be a timestamp in the description box so you can forward to that reading. So today we have our Everyday Tarot with this bloodstone. We have the Fantastical Tarot with this desert rose. We have the Mythic Tarot with the rose quartz. And we have the mini Hanson-Roberts deck with this amethyst. So take a moment to see which one you feel drawn to. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, that's okay. There just means that there might be a message in more than one pile for you. And we'll be back with pile 1. Hi, pile 1. If you chose the mini Everyday Tarot and the bloodstone, then this is your reading. So for the future self, it's going to be a 5-card spread, and the first card will be your present self. So if after the first card you feel like it might not relate to you, then this might not be your pile. Let me take these out. Okay, so we want to talk with our pile 1's future self from 1 year from now and see what kind of advice they can give us for this coming year. What does our future self want us to know in pile 1? I feel this right here. Okay, so our first card we have is the 8 of Pentacles. This 8 of Pentacles in your first position, which is your present self, suggests that you are kind of playing that role of a hard-working apprentice. So you could be pursuing an advanced degree. You could be looking at a career change, and maybe you're in the stages of learning what you need to know for your new career. Opening a business. So maybe you're again in those stages where you're kind of doing the behind-the-scenes work to get everything launched. You're taking your role at work seriously. You're becoming that craftsman, that mature student. You may have recently developed a talent, and now you're really working hard to make that talent grow into a reality. So if this sounds like you, then this would be your pile. You might also be really invested in a hobby, and then lately you've been wondering, I wonder if this year is the year that I can turn this into a profession. All right, so let's see. So that is who we are. Now let's see, what kind of information can we give to our hard-working 8 of Pentacles pile number 1? So the first thing we want to ask is, what will our future self thank us for doing in this coming year? What are some of the things our future self 1 year from now is going to thank us for? I actually feel like this card. The 7 of Swords. Okay. So I think that your future self is going to thank you for doing all that undercover, behind the scenes work that you did to make that dream that you wanted turn into a reality. So this makes me think of a person who might be working at a current job, but they really have kind of a side project they're developing. They have something brewing behind the scenes, and they aren't quite at the position where they are ready to leave their current job, but they're really trying to set the foundation for themselves to move towards this new path. And I think it's very work-oriented, or again, like that craftsman, that turning a hobby into a reality. These are things that we can do behind the scene, but sometimes we kind of have to do them on the sly because we're not quite ready to break down the status quo in our lives right now. So your future self, though, is going to say, hey, you know what? Those months where you kind of worked all those extra hours and you worked behind the scenes and you kept things hidden because you wanted to make sure you had what you needed to pay the bills. Thank you for doing that. I know at times it was hard, but now you were able to move forward. Or now, you know what, because you did that, this time next year, our dream is really becoming a reality, and we've taken steps to become the master of our own destiny. So the Seven of Swords is saying, hey, thanks for that sacrifice you made. I'm much happier now. I feel like I'm living a more fulfilled life right now. My life has more purpose. So thank you for your sacrifice. All that secret planning, all that cunning work has paid off. Okay, so next is, so in order to get here though, what does our future self want us to focus on? So what does our, oh, here we go. We have the Four of Wands. So this makes me think that you already have an idea in mind. If you're not already at this stage, you're about to be soon. I think that you probably already have an idea for what you want in your life. What kind of, when you wake up in the morning, what do you want your day to be about, right? So we really can craft our own destiny. So your future self wants you to focus on creating communications and working together with others who can help you reach the goal that you might be working on right now in your present. Your future self wants you to know that you are making a lot of efforts. You're going to have to continue to make efforts, but there will be a reward for these efforts. Again, if you're trying to turn a hobby into a profession, if you're thinking about switching professions, if you really are unhappy in your job and you're kind of working kind of on the sly, maybe you're already in negotiations or have other job interviews and you're kind of hush-hush right now. Your future self is saying all that work, all that extra time you've been putting in is going to pay off. You are going to receive rewards. So please focus on the task at hand, even during those times where it might feel like you're never going to reach this goal. Your hard work will pay off. So that's a fantastic message from our future self. There will be celebration ahead for you, success and appreciation. You have a path opening for the good things in life, and it might not be the easiest path, but there is a good ending. All right, so our next card we're going to draw is we're going to see, what does our future self want us to get rid of from our life? What do we need to cut out of our life now in order to reach our goal? And I just keep thinking of the person that's in a job, maybe you're in a career and you're just like really unhappy, you've noticed that, and so you've kind of had the stirrings of something new that's really requiring you to start again from that student level to work hard. And now that we know that there is some success coming, what do we need to cut out in order to make this path a little easier? Make it a little easier to kind of go behind the scenes and do the things we need to do. So what do we need to cut out of our current? Oh, here we go. We actually got two, and they're pretty great. We got the Death and the Hanged Man. I'm going to use both of them because I often feel like these cards are very similar in the sense that they're both talking about making sacrifices or being willing to say goodbye to things that don't serve you in order to move forward to a better life. And so the fact that these two fell out together, I feel like is actually pretty fitting. So my guess is you already kind of know what you need to cut out of your life, or you're starting to get an inkling towards, you know what, this isn't working for me. So you are already making sacrifices, but don't make too many sacrifices in order to reach your goal, because you do have to make some changes. However, you don't have to sacrifice your own personal well-being in order to reach your goals. So I'm wondering if right now, the position that you are in now, you kind of feel like you're losing something. You might be sacrificing your own time. You might be sacrificing your health. Maybe you're run down. Maybe you don't get to eat well because you're always going from one place to another. Maybe you're not exercising as much as you should because you're pretty much working from morning to night. And so there's sacrifice, I think, but sacrifice to a point. At some point, it's okay to know that this isn't serving you. If you're like, all you're doing is sacrificing, all you're doing is giving all your time and energy to kind of better another person while you yourself are really struggling to just even do the self-care you need, it's okay to let this go. And I'm kind of feeling like these three are really tied together in that sense, that one of the things that might be making us do things on the sly is we don't feel like we can be honest right now. But we know that we need a better way. We know that we've kind of like, I always see the death card as paying I always see the death card as paying your coin to Hades. So I feel like here you've paid your coin to Hades. You've put in the work, you've put in the effort, you've done what you can. But at some point, you also need to live for a better future for yourself. At some point, you have to take control of what you want your life to look like. And my guess is that's not happening right now. Your life, you know what you want. You have an image in your head. You have a dream. You have a focus. But it's not necessarily what your reality is right now. However, I see that your future self is telling you that it's okay to be this person right now, because this is going to get you to here. This, if you're kind of feeling guilty or maybe not really sure how you're going to break it to your boss or break it to your partner, that you're really going to make some significant changes, or you're choosing a new career path, a new work path, I think that your future self is telling you it's a necessary ending. It's a necessary realization that the sacrifices you've made for others are done now, and now it's time to make those hardworking sacrifices for your own betterment. So cut out the things that are not serving you anymore. Cut out the things that you know were kind of holding you back. And know that change isn't always bad. I think in this case, this change is going to become really good. There's a lot of rewards being promised here. But your future self wants you to know, okay, you've done enough for other people. Now it's time to do something for you. Right, and then our last one is, what kind of advice does our future self have for us? So if we make that decision now to really pursue our new track, even if we kind of have to do it on the sly for a while, and now we know that there will be rewards in the coming year, we're willing to let this cycle end, and we're willing to move towards the new in our life. What kind of advice can you give us? Okay. We have the Three of Swords in reverse. So I don't often read cards in reverse. However, in this situation, I feel like it's really fitting that we have the Three of Swords in reverse. So the Three of Swords would be that card of just heartbreak, deceit, something kind of really bad that's been done to us. And in reverse, I feel like it shows that instead of our hearts kind of being pierced, we're going to have a healing. So your future self is, the advice that your future self is giving you is, this is going to be a time of healing for you, of hope, and of coming together. So instead of that, like if it was, the reverse is the opposite, right, of this destruction of this card. So instead of this destruction, we have creation, we have hope. And your Three of Swords wants you to hold on to that. So as you go through the process of working, of learning the new skills, of making these significant changes, of letting the things go as you work towards this future that you have, where you're going to have some successes, you're going to have achievement, you're going to find other people to work with. Let the emotional side of this help heal you and move on. Let it help you become a stronger person. Let it help you become more confident. Let it help you create these really strong new relationships of people that are filled with honesty, love, and a truer sense of self. And I feel like there might be one or two people that are kind of involved with this now. Like, again, if it's like a new business you're wanting to start, or if it's a new project you want to work on, you could be doing it alone. I mean, a lot of these, all of these are alone, but I feel like some of these cards also suggest a coming together of other people. And so you might find people along the way that'll help you towards that goal that you're working on. Or someone's going to be the catalyst for the change. So someone's going to help us focus on the fact that, oh, there's actually potential here for me to turn this hobby into a career. Or I actually am able to leave this job. I don't have to keep sacrificing my own needs. I don't have to keep kind of running into this dead end anymore. Okay, so hope, hard work, dedication, and promise are all the main things I see here. So this is a change. That's a good change. But there are definitely going to be some changes if you want to get here, if you want to get to that point where you become the master of your own life, really, the master of your own destiny. So this one fell out. It says, instead of taking on the fear of others, I reflect love. It makes me think of this. And let's get one more. Okay, I'm going to feel like this one for some reason. Oh, this is perfect. My greatest experience of freedom comes when I let go of what others think of me. So I wonder if we have felt really tied to a situation, possibly at work, possibly with our business partners, possibly in a career path, a school path, where we do feel that trapped feeling and we're kind of letting our fear or fear of change kind of keep us stuck on this path. And now our future self is coming along to say, hey, you know what? If you can move past that fear, if you can release yourself, let go of your current life, don't hold on too tightly to what you have now. If you can make the steps to move forward to what you really dream about, what you really want in your life, if you can allow that love to come back in, that like hope again, there's great rewards in your future. And this is the year of change for you. Okay, so pile 1, I hope that was helpful, and I will leave you here. Hi, pile 2. If you chose the Fantastical Tarot and the Desert Rose, then this pile is for you. Okay, so we are looking at the message that our future self 1 year from now has for us today as we move into the new year. So pile 2. The first card's going to represent your present self. If you feel like the present card does not really suit you, then this might not be the pile for you. You might want to look at some other piles, or possibly there just isn't a message in this reading for you. But we will get our card and find out. So what message pile 2, we want to check in with our future self. What does our future self want us to know? Where are we at now? For our first card, let's get where are we at in our present moment? I felt like right under here, actually. I think this one. Oh. Oh man, that's really funny that I pulled this. It's funny because it says, enter a world at the edges of the senses, a dreamscape barely reachable by the mind. So that kind of, I know this isn't actually like a card I'm going to pull it to the side, but I just wanted to keep this in because it also says when used with a clear mind. This makes me wonder if you guys are more artistic, you're more dreamy, you're kind of more, you're your own beings, right? You're probably very, I just heard Frida Kahlo-esque. You might be artists. You might really put a lot of love and art into yourself, into the way you look, into the way you live your life. But let's get an actual, that's pretty funny it came out though. Okay, we need our card to show our present self. I think this guy, and this one, and then this one. Okay, let's try that again. Ooh, the King of Pentacles. All right. So my guess is you're a pretty confident being. You don't, so King is masculine enemy. The King is masculine energy, but that doesn't mean that you yourself have to be masculine, but there might be a part of you that has that powerful self. Yeah, so you have some power to you. You have, I think you have a lot of means available to you, possibly money, but it might just be other resources, like really great resources that help you kind of thrive in the world. You might be kind of right there. You're like in the middle of your trade, in the middle of your profession. You are able to take dreams. Whenever you have a dream or a wish for yourself, you have what it takes to turn it into a reality. So you might be so thinking about that other card. I'm wondering if some of you are successful artists, successful crafts people. I don't feel like you have a traditional job, but I feel like what you do, you may, but what you do, I feel like is probably unique and you're a master at it. You just rock, basically. You're rocking right now. You have abundance, or again, because it's a core card, you might have someone in your life that gives this to you, and therefore you are able to thrive as well. So maybe you have a really strong partner that really supports you, and right now you might be thinking of, you might be plotting a new goal, a new dream, or you might be really in the middle of it. You might be at the top of your game, and you have a partner that also really supports you. So that could be for some of you. All right, so if this sounds like you, then this is your reading. So the first card we're going to get is, we want to know, so 1 year from now, what will our future self thank us for? What will our future, the Ten of Swords. So your future self is going to thank you for the fact that when you went through some significant difficulties this past year, you were able to manage them. Because again, I think you do have that, some kind of inner strength, inner power. So there is a chance that you might run into some difficulty this coming year. But it doesn't seem like it's going to last long, because this is really the card of, okay, the worst is over. Now the news coming in. So it might just be a temporary thing. And it's hard to say what, because it could just be a loss. It could be a struggle. It could be that just some difficulties come up. But because of that inner core you have that's so strong, not only are you able to move past it, but once you were able to get past it, you were able to get some reprieve, and just your future self thanks you for the time that you took after this rough period to just allow yourself to rest and breathe, because it was very helpful. The other thing this might mean is you might be letting go of old habits this year. So maybe, even though you are this strong, powerful person, maybe you party too hard, maybe you drink too much, maybe you're smoking, maybe you have some kind of vice or something that you've kind of has had a grip on you. And this your future self is saying, hey, you know what? You did the hard work. You let go of that old habit. You found a new way. So thank you. Okay, so what does our future self want us to focus on this coming year? So what should we be focusing on? What do we want to focus on? Okay. For this, I'm actually feeling like that card right there. Yeah. Sometimes I just get these feelings of the card, and this is the one that was calling. Oh, perfect. The Empress. Your future self wants you to focus on self-care. First and foremost, self-care, self-love. And I think through this focus of self-care and self-love, you'll be able to tap into that inner strength to kind of face any of these demons that have been haunting you. So I feel like your future self is telling you this is the year. You're going to have what you need. You're going to find that strength. You're going to learn to go. So both of these cards suggest going with the flow. And it's funny because in the King of Pentacles, to me, always seems like a card that's showing that flow is available, right? We have these resources available to allow the flow in our life, whether it be career, whether it be money. I feel like for this, you have a very strong foundation now. You have stability in your life. And because of that, you're going to be able to start kind of, this makes me think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's a model that I really like. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're not familiar, it's like a level of what we need to achieve to be able to move on. And the bottom level is really like our basic needs. And then it goes up to the top, which is really like our ultimate fulfillment of who we are as a being. And I think when we think of that, you have that foundation. You have a home. You have people you love. I mean, even if it's just you are comfortable in the home that you've created for yourself, or with your partner, with your friends, with your family, with your community, in whatever way your community is. And because you have that, that's going to give you that strength to combat this other part. So now we're kind of moving on to the next layers. And for you, it's going to be about letting go of things that don't serve you, knowing that the worst is coming to an end. You're going to have relief. You can move past any habits, addictions, situations. And the key for you is to focus on self-love and self-growth. The more we love ourselves, the more we take care of ourselves, the more we nurture ourselves. These are all really great ways to help build our self-esteem, to help build our strength, to help build us up, to do the hard things. So that will be your focus. So thinking of that, the next card's going to be about what do we need to cut out? What does our future self want us to cut out in order to be able to love ourselves more and devote more time to self-care this year? What do we need to cut out? What's kind of keeping us in chains right now? I actually feel like this card. The Two of Wands. Okay, so I wonder if we're feeling really torn right now about two different ideas. It might be two ideas that we have for our own life. So maybe we have a person, a self. We might have one self that we reflect to the world, and then we have like our inner self that we hide. And that is something that we need to let go of. So I'm guessing that you have the potential for some kind of a new path, a new hobby, a new career. The foundation for something is here, but you're going to get in your own way. So what we have to do is cut out what it is that's keeping us kind of cut in two and unable to make that choice we need to kind of move about in this coming year. So your future self is saying, hey, you have this opportunity come, and you were so stuck on this vices, you were so stuck in this, that you missed out on it. So what I want you to do is instead focus on yourself, because when this thing comes along, I want you to be ready. I want you to be ready to receive it, ready to pursue it. And the potential is possible for some new kind of project in your life. And I want you to be in a space where you're at your healthiest, where you are really in touch with yourself again. So we want your true self to shine. So merge that conflict within you so that your true self can shine, because you actually have a lot to offer. A lot to offer. I don't know why I'm feeling this really strongly, but for some of you, I feel like this is really about self-esteem. My guess is you're probably a really kick-butt person. You might be highly intelligent, possibly even have like musical talents, artistic talents. You have something, you just have like so much potential in you. And I feel like for a lot of you, it might be your self-esteem that's holding you back. So that might actually be the vice right there, is that you don't see yourself in the clearest way that I can say it is. You don't see yourself the way others see you or the way you are now. And your future self wants you to work on this, because something new is coming along in your area, and if you're ready for it, you can thrive. The Two of Wands also talks about advice. So, and since it's in the cutout thing, this makes me think your future self is telling you to kind of, if other people are giving you advice during the year, or other people are like discouraging you or saying, oh no, you're fine, just cut it out. Just the voice that needs to be strongest is your own. Okay, so let's see. So our last one is going to be, what advice does our future self have for us? So let's say we're able to do this. We're able to, during the year, really begin the process of building up self-esteem, self-love, self-care. We're able to work past the things that have been weighing us down. We're able to move forward to a brighter day. We have the resources we need. We are ready for when we've cut out the things that would inhibit us from accepting any new growth in our life. What other advice do we have from our future self? And then I actually just feel like this card, that's funny. Okay, well, it's not funny, but it's actually pretty fitting. The Four of Swords. So I think the advice from you a year from now is telling yourself, take the time that you need to meditate and self-reflect. So this might not be like, I think this year is going to be one of those years that might not be the easiest for you. However, I think it's going to be a life-changing year. A year where you come into your own in an even stronger way. And you do that because something new, a new project, something new and wonderful wants to enter your life. And it's like waiting for you to find you, if that makes sense. So your future self is telling you, grab those moments when you can. Indulge in this. These two cards just go together so well for me. I feel like it's take the time to meditate, to think. Give yourself that space, that quiet, that moment. Use those moments to build yourself up, because you got something good coming on and you got to be ready for it. So I actually think that's a pretty cool reading. Very true, I think, to what happens with humans, as I guess I should say very true to what happens to us as humans. I think sometimes the biggest growth we make or sometimes come out of the hardships we endure. All right, so let's get some further advice. What kind of advice can we what kind of advice? Okay, the first one is, attacking others is an attack on myself. I choose to release this now. That's interesting. So I wonder if some of you are critical of other people, and maybe the reason why is because you're overly critical of yourself, or you've lost touch with who you are. So there's like, it's filling that void. So that part inside of you that could be blooming and thriving and living and loving and creating is getting stuck by some other things. Now it's telling you, you know what, release that. That stuff doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter what that person's doing. It doesn't matter what frustrating thing is happening. Ultimately, what happens is when we let this anger and stuff build up, we not only hurt others, but we hurt ourselves, right? So we want to, and that really goes with this. It's time to let it go because there's better and bigger things in store for you. Let's pull one more. Man, these cards get me every time because they're so fitting. The more I honor my inner light, the more I brighten the world I choose to shine. I'm just going to reflect on this, let you reflect on this for a moment, because these two are just kind of everything. There's a lot here about choice, honor, respect, silence, meditation, promise, and strength. I'm going to leave those as your key words. There's something good coming your way, but there's stuff blocking you. Release it. Get back to yourself. Do what you need to do for growth. Strengthen that self-esteem. Let your inner self shine. And this opportunity is coming your way. Right, and I am going to leave you here, pile 2. I hope this was helpful. Thank you. Hi, pile 3. If you chose my very well-loved Mythic Tarot deck and our beautiful rose quartz, then this is your reading. So we are going to look at what kind of message our future self from 1 year from now has for us to kind of give us some insight to our coming year. The first card that I'm going to pull is going to be your present self card. So if this card doesn't really feel like it relates to you, there is a chance that this might not be your pile, or this might, if you've checked the other piles and maybe this isn't your reading, but hopefully you'll find yourself in one of them. Okay. Let me just do. So talking to our future self, where are we at presently? What is our present self? Wow, this one just jumped out. So I wonder if presently I'm feeling a couple things. One, you have some kind of discontentment, boredom, disillusionment. This could be just in your life in general, which I feel like that could be for a lot of you. For some of you, I am feeling like a betrayal. Something's happened in your relationship. Maybe someone else is getting involved in your relationship, kind of putting stuff in your ear that you don't want to hear. And it's really creating some difficulty within yourself. Or you're just experiencing boredom with your relationship. Things are kind of stale right now for you. That boredom, that discontentment, that not really feeling how we used to feel about a situation. So we might have felt really happy, things felt new, things felt fresh, but now we're kind of in a period. I feel like this is like the fall period of our life. We're in the fall, like things are starting to die. We're heading towards the winter. And it's funny because I actually love the fall. Fall's my favorite time of the year. I think a lot of people, fall is their favorite time of the year, but it is also inevitably heading towards a winter. So it's getting darker out, it's getting colder out. And that's how I always kind of view this card, as like the fall of your life or the autumn period of your life. When something is, there's still good things, but there's just things happening, or sense of boredom, a sense of staleness that we're kind of getting stuck in. So if that sounds like you, then this should be your reading. All right, so our first thing we're going to ask is, what is our future self going to thank us for 1 year from now? Woo! Let me grab those. Try that again. Okay, what is our future self telling us 1 year from now? 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so your future self 1 year from now is going to thank you. Your future self 1 year from now is thanking you for the hard work, dedication, and time you're about to put in. So if this card for you really fits the relationship scenario, you are going to get out of that period by, you're going to find new dedication and purpose that's going to get you out of that bored, stuck feeling, or you might stop listening to the voice of others and then go back and really listen to your own voice and kind of focus on that, in the sense that future self is thanking you for the dedication and time you've put in to make your life better. So if you were in that period of kind of stagnation this year and you do have some hard work ahead, your future self is saying, man, thanks for doing that for me, because when I look back, I really was unhappy. And you did this hard, you did what you needed to do to get us to this point. So thank you, because it was all worth it. So now I want to know, what does our future self want us to focus on? What should we be focusing on right now? Our future self wants us to know that if things, this period of time, this not so great period of time, it's going to end. Right now, it might feel like it's just never going to end. You might just feel so stuck, so lost, so confused, so overwhelmed, so unable to act. And your future self wants you to know that sooner or later, within a year, hopefully sooner. I'm noticing there's like an even number here. We got 4, 8, 10. So maybe it's going to be on an even month. Maybe like, what would that be? February, April, June. Maybe it'll be one of these months, the 4th month of the year, the 8th month of the year, or the 10 months. So even up to next October. That's one way that I feel like it might fit for some people. You're going to get what you need. It's going, so really what I already said is the most important thing. This period is going to end. So please just know that it's going to end. Keep that in mind so you can do the hard work you need to help you move towards this ending, which is, I think, a really good ending and probably a needed ending. And it doesn't have to be necessarily the ending of a relationship or the ending of anything. It might just be the ending of this feeling that you have been feeling for so long. All right, so in order to, we know what we need to focus on, but what do we need to cut out of our life? What does pile 3 need to cut out of their life? What does our future self want us to know? This one. I'm kind of wondering if there is other people involved that is helping to create some unhappiness for you. Because again, we have, you know, there's these, here we're alone, but we are getting some help, right? Here we're surrounded and we are, I mean, the 4 of Cups in general, I think is usually a good card, right? You have that coming together, you have some acclaim. But in this position, this is talking about what we need to cut out. So I wonder if other people, or you're kind of, maybe you're in like a social group, a very intimate social group, where there's always a lot of drama, gossip, you kind of get wrapped up into other people's stuff. And your future self is saying, can we stop this right now? Can we just focus on us again? Because there's more that we can achieve, and we don't have to kind of stay in this feeling or stay in this, I don't know why, but I just heard immaturity. And I don't think that means you're immature. I think that you might even feel like, oh my gosh, this is just so high school, right? You might have said that, like, oh, this is so high school. This is so high school. Everyone comes together and they're great, but there's all this gossiping. So this could even be a family situation where maybe you all gather. It's fun on the surface, but in reality, there's a lot of gossiping, back talking, and you get wrapped up in it. I don't think that you mean to, but I'm guessing you might be a person that's easy to talk to or easy to gather around. But you're also taking on a lot of other people's problems when you really need to be focusing on yourself. So your future self wants you to find a way to maybe give less time to this part and more time to developing and working hard on whatever it is you're doing. If you're your work, your career, your passions, your goal, your schooling, right? This is what needs your energy. So can we somehow kind of tell these people, you know what? Please, right now, it's all about me. It has to be about me. Okay. Then the last card is, what kind of advice does our future self have for us? So what advice can our future self give to us to help us this year? And this card kind of jumped out. So the 7 of Cups, interesting. So there is definitely that choice here. And I think, again, you might be really torn. So maybe you're going to have to, again, choose, okay, you know what? I really love you people, but I really need to do my schoolwork. I really need to focus on my grades. I really need to focus on my career. I'm kind of getting overwhelmed. The other choice could be about, are we choosing, so as an advice card, I think that the 7 of Cups is here to say, please make a choice. You're dividing yourself amongst too many things, and we're never going to get ahead like this. This kind of gives me an image that you, as the person that has like a friend group or just a family, and you are kind of like the support person in a lot of ways. You might be a neutral person. You might be a loving person. But because of that, you can get really wrapped up in others' feelings, or kind of to go back to the other thing of that feeling of maybe you yourself are just feeling stuck and bored in a relationship, stuck and bored in your life. And you really are kind of being called upon to kind of choose something that's truly for you, that really you feel like is something you can dedicate the time and energy that you need to this year. You really have to get your priorities in order, pile 3. I think that's kind of the takeaway message, is get your priorities in order if you want to achieve anything this year. And that's pretty much kind of it, I think. That's a little harsh, but sometimes we just got to get our stuff together, and that's kind of what's happening here. Okay, let's get some advice. Yeah, this guy. Oh no, stuck. My power lies in my peaceful presence. How funny. So that's kind of what I said, is I feel like you kind of are that presence. You are that person. And that is where your power lies. But I think it's time to choose. Are you going to keep giving that to others, or are you going to give it to yourself? And then we have, you know what, I think, no, yeah. I don't know. I kind of actually don't think this is the one. I think I meant this one. My greatest experience of freedom comes when I let go of what others think of me. Wow. I mean, yeah, again, I feel like you're probably, I just heard people pleaser. I don't think that's all of you. I think that might be a lot of you. I see you, I believe you are a kind, loving, genuine soul who gives so much of your time and energy to helping others that you might not even be noticing that right now there's a lot of discontentment within yourself, or there's a lot of discontentment. I don't feel a relationship. I know this is like a relationship card, but I just don't feel a relationship here. I feel like I just keep seeing like a group of friends, or like a group of people, a group of family, a close-knit group, a community you're in, where you're kind of this well of power and peace for people, but at some point you have to choose yourself, right? So maybe you've like been thinking, man, I really want to go back to school, or I really want to try this. Maybe I want to move somewhere. But you kind of just, it's easy for you to put yourself aside and focus on other people. But yeah, it's time to get your priorities in order. Got to let go of this stuff. We gotta return to our own self here. Okay. So I hope this was helpful, and I will leave you here, pile 3. Thank you. Hi, pile 4. If you chose my mini Hanson-Roberts deck with this very big amethyst, then this is your reading. So today we are going to find out what our future self 1 year from now, what messages, what do they want to tell us about the coming year. So for the first card I'm going to pick, it's going to be your present self. So if you feel like that card doesn't completely relate to you, then this might not be your pile. You can check out other piles. You can watch this one anyway to see if there's anything in here for you, or this might just not be the reading for you. Right, so pile 4, well, we're going to talk about our future self, but where are we at right now? What does our future self want us to know about where we're at right now? This card for some reason, I'm going to grab that one. Okay, we have the Hangman. So this makes me think that you might be finding yourself sacrificing something for kind of what they would call the greater good. So you might be a parent who sacrifices a lot for your children. You might be sacrificing a lot for work, sacrificing a lot for loved ones. You might be sacrificing a lot for a goal you're trying to reach. If that doesn't sound like you, the other message the Hangman brings is that we are kind of coming up against some old attitudes or old ways of living that are no longer serving us. So maybe we have old habits, old patterns, and we're at a point in our life now where we find that it's really not serving us anymore, and it's kind of time to move on and let go. You also could be someone that's been holding on to a long-held fantasy or wish, and your future self's kind of coming in to tell you this year you're going to have to let it go. So this year from now, you'll have realized that we had to let it go and give way, open up way for a new path. So a few different ways that we can read this card. And so those are kind of the 3 big ones I'm feeling. So let's get some more information to kind of give some clarity. Okay. So our next card's going to be, what does our future self want to thank us for? So our future self 1 year from now, when they look back at us today, what is it that we've done or have went through this past year that our future self now wants to thank us for? And just this card right here. The Chariot. So the Chariot, that actually goes pretty good together. So wow, so pile 2, pile 4, the first thing I'm noticing is right away we have 2 major arcana, and those can be like pretty significant. So I want to say that I feel like one thing that our future self is telling us is there's going to be some big moments for you this year. So the Chariot would be our future self kind of letting us know, you know what? Thank you for going through the challenges you went through. Thank you for going through the conflicts you went through. Thank you for facing things that you faced this year with such strength, because now we're more together. And I'm guessing that relates to this. So again, if there's you're making a lot of sacrifices for others, you're making sacrifices for yourself, or you're trying to let go of old habits, you are probably kind of struggling right now with this, and your future self is saying, I know that it was this was kind of hard, it was challenging, you had to let go of a lot of things, but thank you, because the end result was you've become a stronger, more cohesive, more put together person, and that's really going to serve you a year from now. The Chariot, I feel like, is that card that shows us that we do have a positive direction ahead of us, and we just need to kind of focus our energy and kind of any of those how can I word this? We can bring the different parts of us together. We can bring our inner struggles together. We can bring our inner demons together. We can bring conflicts together and get them on the same path towards a positive future. And this is something that you are really needing to do right now. And somehow, some way, you're going to find the strength you need to do it. And so your future self is letting you know that you were able to accomplish that. You're able to move beyond this. And it's made a big difference. So what does our future self want us to focus on now? So if this is the journey we're taking, ooh, this card just kind of jumped out. So our future self wants us to focus on, we have the King of Rods. So the rods in this deck are the wands. Yeah, the wands. I was looking at my other cards. So this is the wands. So we have the King of Wands. So that the King of Wands could either be a person that you have that is maybe showing some leadership. They have ideas and maybe they've been trying to help you see that, you know, we need to come. Maybe you're really struggling with something, trying to make a choice. You're trying to make this change and you might have someone in your life that's going to show you the path or kind of give you ideas, kind of help you brainstorm what you need to do to move forward. So it could be a person in your life. And so that if that's the case for you, your future self is telling you, focus, listen to what that person's telling you, right? You have this source in your life. They would be someone with like a person of leadership, someone that you've known can change people's lives. They change their own life. They change. This could be, again, a family member, someone you know, a therapist, really like anyone that you have in your life that is the source of leadership and strength, that has good ideas, that knows how to solve problems, that knows how to generate ideas, they know how to create growth and momentum, then that would be a person that you want to focus on because they might be the answer to this riddle here of, okay, something needs to change. I need to pull myself together. How do I do it? One way I've learned, though, with the court cards is I think that they do represent people, but also if a court card comes into our reading, it can also sometimes represent that the qualities are qualities that we need to also kind of cultivate in ourselves. You might actually be this King of Wands or Rods, as the card says. You might be the one that has ideas, generate. And if you don't really have this kind of person in your life, but you know that you kind of have this within you, then your future self is telling you, you know what? You've been coming up with some good ideas lately. You've been thinking about new things. You've been taking on a role of leadership. You've been looking for growth, looking for momentum. And focus on those feelings because they might be little inklings you're having right now, but your future self is letting you know, nurture those, let those grow, because those are going to help you find the way forward. Okay, so now we're going to look at, so we know what we should focus on, which again is really ourself, our ideas, or someone else that can guide us. But what do we need to cut out? What should we let go of? What is our future self realizing a year from now? Something that we should have let go of or cut out. Okay, I feel like this one. The Knight of Cups. So I think it's interesting. The first thing I'm noticing is that it's all kind of stereotypical looking men on these cards. So very masculine energy coming off. So this could represent you if you tend to have like more of that, what you would consider a masculine personality. I think that's up for interpretation, but I do think for some of you, this could be a person that's maybe keeping you, is maybe the reason why you're making a sacrifice, right? So we have, this would be a young, emotionally sensitive man. This could be about romance, falling in love. It could be about a marriage proposal. So maybe you've been going through a lot of things, and maybe someone's offered you a marriage proposal, or maybe you're engaged and you're kind of realizing that this really isn't what I need right now. So maybe you're going to have to gather up your finances, gather up your resources, get ready to start anew, because you're going to have to kind of leave what you've created and start a new path. This also can be with a kind of like the one that comes along, kind of like the damsel in distress, right? He's coming along. He's going to save his damsel in distress, but we have to remember that this is in the section that we want to cut out of our life. So if you tend to rely on other people to save you, to guide you, to kind of give you that sense of completion, your future self wants you to cut it out, basically. Okay, so it's time to stop looking for that fantasy. It's time to stop looking for that ideal, that romance, and it's time to know that really it's going to come from inside of you, because there's other things brewing inside of you. And you may have been wishing and hoping for things that really are not serving you anymore. They're keeping you kind of divided. They're making it hard for you to move forward. And this is the year to kind of pull yourself together, take charge of your own life, and then move forward to a better future. This could represent a person that maybe you kind of need to separate from, but I feel like, again, even though these are court cards, they also can really represent the things that we need to cultivate within ourselves. And so if we kind of have that, like a fantasy, a long-held fantasy, right? Or like, again, that like damsel in distress thing, it might be time for us to be our own hero, not instead of waiting for one to come along. Okay, so this was... The last card is, what is the advice that our future self has for us? And this one just jumped right out, which is the Seven of Cups. So our Seven of Cups is really about having to make a choice. And, you know, it's not an easy choice to make. So you have different paths. You can take different options, and they might not feel like the best ones for you. So your future self is letting you know that right now you might be in a time of confusion. You might be realizing, I need to get myself together. So again, kind of like priorities, right? So needing to get ourselves together, needing to like pull our resources together so we can make the right choice for our future. We're making a choice that's for us and not necessarily because someone else is giving us away or someone else is making it easier for us. We need to let go of any of these old attachments or any of our old ways, which really stop us from thriving as an individual. And so it's okay if you feel confused right now. It's okay if you're scared to leave some kind of stability. It's okay if you're realizing like these old habits, these old ways, this old sense that I have of being in the world is kind of not serving me anymore. And I need to kind of re-tap into my power and kind of find what I need to make the right choice for the coming year. Your future self is also giving you the advice that you have the potential to you have great I feel like something I'm feeling about this pile is there's some really fantastic potential here and some untapped resources or some forgetting of our own inner strength, what we actually can accomplish, because we might be letting others save us or kind of help us or kind of cocoon us in safety. So this to me is like telling you we need to take a safe risk, right? So we can make a really hard choice, but we can also take a safe risk. We have a lot of options available to us. We have a lot of potential here. There's a lot of things that we can manifest, but we have to kind of make the choice to branch out on our own in some way, shape, or form. And I mean, I'm just thinking every single card has a man on it by himself, holding something, or this poor guy who's just upside down, right? But there's a lot of similarities here, and it just makes me think that you might be a person that's kind of cocooned in this nest of this like safety. There might be a lot of really wonderful male figures in your life, male role models that really help you, but to what cost, right? So maybe you're afraid to kind of let go of the safety net. So this kind of makes me think of maybe you're trying to leave your home for the first time. Like this makes me think of like the 20-something-year-old that is ready to kind of, that's really knows that it's time to move on. It's time to kind of create your own path in the world, but you have so much safety and support. You're cocooned with love. And so it's making it hard for you to really pull yourself together. But it's kind of your time to shine. And if that's not you, in some kind of shape or form, it is your time to shine. It's your time to like allow some maturity in your emotions. It's your time to open up to the fact that there's potential in you. And as long as you kind of stay in your safety net, if you don't branch out of your safety net, whatever that net is, whether you're a college student, it doesn't have to be that. You could be not really physically leaving your safety net, but maybe intellectually leaving your safety net, maybe emotionally leaving your safety net, maybe finally dealing with old habits, right? Or maybe you have some like dreams or goals that you've been wanting to pursue, but you're kind of safe with the way life is now. And so you are going to branch, you're going to take that leap of faith essentially. And hopefully these figures in your life are going to help support you. But if they don't, or if for some reason you're waiting for someone to help you, we need to let that go. Because really, this is about you. I didn't do this for the other readings, but for this reading, I really am wanting a clarifier card. So I'm just going to pull a clarifier real quick, because I'm kind of blown away by like the strength of all the male figures in this deck. Okay, I want a clarifier. Okay, we got two. So, oh, interesting. The Four of Cups and Strength. So so many cups, so many major arcana. So like I said, I think this is going to be your future self is letting you know there's big changes ahead of you this year. Significant changes that are going to bring up a lot of emotions. And we're going to, so I like this here, because we're going to be maybe feeling that loss, that boredom. We're focusing on some things. We're focusing on loss. We're dwelling in our emotions, but we're not seeing the gift that's being offered, right? And that could just be the fact that we're so locked into our safety net. We're not seeing the future, the promise that comes from breaking free or moving forward, or really taking that leap of faith. And our strength is here. I always see the Strength and Chariot as like kind of similar in some ways, but they're really fitting together. So a lot of these cards are really about controlling your emotions, controlling your inner struggles, really pulling yourself together and finding a balance. So if we go overboard, then we could become really angry. We could become aggressive, right? The lion could bite us instead. These guys could go off in different directions and pull our chariot apart. But it's up to us to make the choices that we need to make to kind of reel in the strengths that we have inside, fine-tune them, and allow them to shine on our own. So don't be afraid to step out in the limelight. Don't be afraid to step out from other people's shadows, and don't be afraid to move forward this year, because there's some potential, there's some things that are kind of in the works, that are manifesting, that are waiting for you to reach out and find them. Okay, let's get some inspiration. so what kind of advice or inspiration can we give pile 4? And again, this could be about a relationship. I feel like this is either having to make a choice to stay or leave a relationship, to address any emotions you have in a relationship, to determine if your relationship does your relationship have a strong foundation? Is it strong, or is it kind of like a, is it uneven in some way? Is it unequal? Is it not really serving you? I mean, there is that part of this, but that could pertain to some people. Okay. Just felt that just kind of came up for me, so I wanted to add it. Okay, so let's see. So our first one says, when I see the good in others, I acknowledge it out loud. And then, creativity flows from me. I am a divine creator. So that one is so perfect for this. So if you do have these, if this really represents like a very strong, very positive social, like support that you have in your life, acknowledge that. You know, it's okay to say, you know what? You guys have kept me safe. You guys have kept me strong. You guys have kept me stable, but I'm coming to a time in my life where I kind of need to get out of my own little cocoon. It's time for me to create my own way in the world. But it doesn't mean that I don't see all the good you did for me, and I'll never forget the way that you've helped me, and you've helped me become a strong person that has the ability to move forward into their future. And then we have this creativity flows from me. I am the divine creator. So yeah, really ultimately you can create. You have the ability. You have the choices open up to you, and you have the power to create the kind of life for you that doesn't feel like you're under someone else's shadows, or that kind of leaves you feeling like, oh man, you know what? This just isn't working. And then if you are the person that maybe this is more about, you've been making a lot of sacrifices for others. So maybe you're this person, maybe you are the one that is giving this kind of energy to other people. You've been making a lot of sacrifices for others, but unfortunately you've maybe become the damsel, the one that saves the damsel in distress. And then your life, if you're kind of the person that's doing this, kind of, it might be time for you to maybe let go of the damsel. Don't worry about other people so much, because you're kind of just sacrificing your own flow, right? And maybe focus on the things that you need, more self-care, basically. So we got to make a choice here. Okay, you know what? I've been the one that has created this cocoon for others, and now they're resisting, and I'm kind of realizing this isn't going to work anymore, which is okay. So now I have to make a choice to be okay, to know that they also have good in them. They also have strong in them. So I'm going to kind of drop this. I'm going to, you know, the Prince act. I'm going to drop this. I'm going to save you act. Because really, there's some other stuff. There's some other promise here for me. There's something I'm moving towards. And so, in the situation that's coming up for us, I can't really be the savior. I'm going to have to be a little more balanced than that. So it's time for me to maybe kind of tap into my own needs again. Okay, a lot of things just keep coming up for this pile. Really interesting. All right, so I hope that this helps in some ways. I feel like this pile just feels to me like it has maybe 4 distinct groups of people. And it's funny because I have a 4 here. And then the other reading I did, it was like a 3. But I wonder if the numbers go to the people. I'm beginning to wonder if the numbers that I put with the cards end up being there for a reason. I'm going to leave you here, pile 4. I hope this helps. And I will see you soon.